Fast-moving floods racing over streets. This was the scene on Tuesday in part of the Canary Islands, a Spanish archipelago that's located about 150 miles off the coast of northwestern Africa. Days of torrential rain created dangerous rivers of rushing water, and an extraordinary rescue was caught on camera. A driver was spotted in one of the cars lined up in a flood's path. A good Samaritan ran up on foot, chucked away his umbrella, and opened the door, helping lead the trapped woman to safety. The rescuer said he was happy and relieved that in the end, it didn't turn out badly. The woman was completely unharmed. It appears the danger is past for this particular area, but Canary Islands residents aren't in the clear yet. Forecasters say the weather will stay volatile throughout the week. They're advising residents to avoid traveling and keep their eyes on the skies. Hi, I'm Carl Azuz. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch The World from A to Z this Thursday. Next, a controversy concerning control of a canal, the Panama Canal. Measured from shore to shore, this is a 40-mile artificial waterway completed in 1914. It dramatically reduced the time that ships faced traveling between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. It reduced the danger they faced in sailing the rough seas around the southern tip of South America. The United States finished its construction and controlled the canal until 1979, but then the U.S. started turning that control over to the Panamanian government, a process completed in 1999. In his address to a joint session of Congress Tuesday night, U.S. President Donald Trump said his administration would be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and Panamanian President Jose Raul Mulino said President Trump was lying. What's that all about? There are two ports, one on each end of the canal, and they're controlled by a company based in Hong Kong, a special administrative region of China. The Trump administration says China's government is influencing canal operations, which are strategically important to the U.S. But Panama denies that. It says the Panamanian government has complete control of the waterway. Either way, a company based in the U.S. is buying control of the ports from the Hong Kong group. President Trump says this amounts to America taking the canal back. President Mulino says it's a private sale, not a take back of the canal. His government still has to approve the transaction for it to go through.
Word it out. In 1890, a chemist named William Morrison demonstrated America's first what? Soft drink, radio broadcast, vacuum cleaner, electric car. At a time when most people traveled on horseback, the inventor introduced the first electric car produced in the U.S.
In California, the Palisades and Eaton fires burned thousands of buildings to the ground and charred electric cars to their frames, leaving behind a trail of hazardous waste like lithium-ion batteries at a scale the EPA has never seen before.
We're expecting to have upwards of 500 tons of lithium-ion batteries.
Is that the most you've ever seen in any sort of disaster?
Correct.
The EPA now on a mission to dispose of these damaged batteries safely, as they can reignite weeks after the fires that heated them are contained.
That instability is still there, and they won't give an indication of when they're going to fail.
After collecting the batteries, EPA technicians bring them to one of two Southern California staging areas. First, soaking them for days in tanks filled with brine solution to de-energize them.
It's a concoction of sodium chloride and sodium bicarbonate.
Larger battery packs are then torn apart, hundreds of jam-packed individual batteries released.
They're going to be the ones that might end up emitting toxic gases or metals.
They're scattered, crushed, and scooped.
That final product is now no longer considered a battery.
This novel process, first developed during the 2023 wildfires in Hawaii, and then refined during the 2025 California ones, now critical to the EPA's response to future disasters.
We have floods or hurricanes on the East Coast, or fires out here, or whatever else may be there. This will be a part of the waste streams.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
On this date in world history. Some historians historic events from March 6th are related to slavery in the United States. In 1820, this was the date when President James Monroe signed the Missouri Compromise. It admitted Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state, and it banned slavery in part of the territory acquired in the Louisiana Purchase. Tensions over the issue were rising. This was also the date in 1857 when the Supreme Court issued its Dred Scott decision. Scott was born into slavery in Virginia, but taken to free territory for several years before being moved back to a slave state. After Scott sued for his freedom, the High Court ruled against him, saying African Americans weren't citizens and weren't entitled to the same constitutional rights. The case deepened the divide over slavery in America. Also on March 6th, in 1869, a Russian chemist named Dmitry Mendeleev presented the world's first periodic table. He'd organized the elements by their atomic weight and found different groups had similarities to each other. After his diagram caught on, Mendeleev became known as the father of the periodic table.
You'll likely recognize the humble coffee bean. But did you know this so-called bean is actually a fruit?
It's the seed of a berry called a coffee cherry. Or how about this tidbit? Americans began drinking more coffee as a direct result of the Tea Act of 1773, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, an act which led to the Boston Tea Party and the American Revolution. Now, U.S. adults drink more coffee daily than any other beverage, with 67% reporting to have coffee each day. And there's still a lot to learn about nature's caffeine kick. This is the Coffee Center at UC Davis, the United States' first academic facility dedicated to the art and science of coffee, a field some say is under-researched.
Given how important coffee is to our culture, to our economy, to our society, coffee needs academic study.
Here, students roast, brew, sample, and scrutinize coffee, part of coursework in chemical engineering. Coffee is one of the most chemically complex beverages in the world, with more than 1,000 compounds, caffeine being the most notorious, and those chems all intermix to create unique flavors and aromas. Where coffee is harvested, location, altitude, weather conditions, the soil and fertilization used, how it's roasted, including the temperature and for how long, as well as the method you choose to brew your coffee, and even the makeup of the water you use, are all variables that change the final taste and aroma of a cup of joe. UC Davis researchers are using state-of-the-art technology to roast and brew coffee to study pre- and post-harvest coffee science.
So we did stuff about the roast of the coffee beans. So we took samples every minute. We tested the water activity throughout the roast. We also looked at the color levels, the LAB star values. And then we also did titration. So we tested the titratable acidity of the coffee beans throughout the roast.
Students and professors at the center hope UC Davis will one day offer a standalone degree in coffee science.
Starting in the South and making our way north this Thursday, we're happy to have Coach Cox's class with us from Belgreen High School. It's in the community of Belgreen in Sweet Home, Alabama. Meanwhile, in Sanford, Maine, it's great to see Mrs. Brickett's or Briquette's class. Hello to Sanford Regional Technical Center in the Pine Tree State. To the Treasure State. That's where we heard from Mr. Tracy's class at Augusta Public School. Augusta, Montana is the home of the Elks. And up in Canada's Yukon Territory, Mr. Mulhern's class is online at F.H. Collins Secondary School. Thank you for watching from Whitehorse. On the Mardi Gras calendar, March 4th this year was Shrove Tuesday or Fat Tuesday, also known as Pancake Day. So to celebrate that, a fun run at a London market featured flippers and bowler hats racing down the lane to try to take home a golden frying pan. But in another part of the city, people fully festooned in costumes had to run, flip, run, return, flip, and finish. And they had to keep their outfits and their pancakes in place the whole time. This event raised money for charity, and the winner here took home a trophy and a new frying pan. They say it's fun and filled with joy, but if critics pan it as a cakewalk, it's no griddle why someone wouldn't waffle and creping on over or totally frying off the handle in no time flat with a hot disagreement. Because if you forsake the pancake clam bake, you'd better believe you'll have egg on your face after you get in a flapjack. I'm Carl Azus, flipping puns on the world from A to Z, and tomorrow's breakfast menu features a stack of awesome.